call this meeting to order. Please stand for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning. This is the Porter County Board of Commissioners meeting Tuesday, January 28th, 2020. It's just about 6 minutes after start time, 10 o'clock. We're going to move right into the agenda. This is the consent agenda, and I'll turn it over to Melanie.
Approval of payroll, January 24th, 2020. Approval of claims, January 16th and January 23rd, 2020. Approval of minutes, January 14th, 2020. Weights and Measures Monthly Report, filed for December 16th, 2019, and January 15th, 2020.
Okay. And we'll go right into the Artistic Services Agreement with Commissioner Blaney.
The following people have artistic services agreement contracts pending. Sharon Shepard, Caitlin Leonard White, 2 agreements. Pete Bissett, Jared Collar, 2 agreements. Liz Bissett, Linnea Bissett, Sarah DeRossi, Noah Strom, Isham Patel, Ellison Lowe, Larry Meshi, Jeff Otto, Andrew Snyder, Allison Granat, Angela Hyde, Sarah Leho, Molly Voss, and Angela Markham. Sorry if I butchered any of those names.
Thank you, Commissioner. So that is the consent agenda. I'll throw it to the floor.
Motion to approve.
Second. We have a motion and a second for consent agenda. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Pose same sign. Motion carries. I think announcements. We're going to move right into Commissioner's business. First off, we have a resolution here to name for the Juvenile Detention Center courtroom after naming the Juvenile Detention Center courtroom after Honorable Mary R. Harper, who just retired. I was wondering if I could have Kurt Ellis read the resolution.
A resolution to recognize the Honorable Mary R. Harper's 40 years of groundbreaking and exemplary service to the people of Porter County. Whereas Judge Harper served as the first female deputy prosecutor and chief deputy prosecutor in Porter County from 1975 to 1981, and whereas in 1984, Judge Harper was elected as Porter County's first female Superior Court judge, where she served for 12 years, and whereas in 1996, Judge Harper was elected as Porter County's first female judge of the Circuit Court, where she served for 23 years, and whereas upon her retirement, Judge Harper was the longest-serving female judge in Indiana's history, and whereas in her position as judge of the Circuit Court, Judge Harper was responsible for overseeing the county's juvenile justice system with a staff of over 100 employees, and whereas during her tenure as judge of the Circuit Court, Judge Harper initiated many new and innovative programs to support juveniles and their families, including but not limited to the Juvenile and Family Drug Court, Family Court, Mental Health Diversion Program, Juvenile Detention Alternative Initiative, Free Divorce and Paternity Mediation Services, and Truancy Court. And whereas the Porter County Board of Commissioners wishes to recognize Judge Harper's 40 years of groundbreaking and exemplary service to the people of Porter County. Therefore, be it resolved that the Porter County Commissioners hereby designates and names the courtroom at the Porter County Juvenile Services Center as the Honorable Mary R. Courtroom, effective this day, Mary R. Harper Courtroom, effective this 28th day of January in the year 2020.
Motion to approve. We have a motion and a second for the naming resolution to name the Juvenile Detention Center courtroom after the Honorable Mary R. Harper. All those in favor signify by saying aye. 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 Pose same sign. Motion carries. Thank you. Next up, we have appointment of hearing officer for the Unsafe Building Fund, Unsafe Building Department. We have...
Oh, they didn't put, yes, I would recommend Andrew Bennett. He's did it in 2019, did good work. I would recommend him for 2020.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for Andrew Bennett as appointing of the hearing officer for the Unsafe Building Fund. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Motion carries. For some of you that aren't aware, our Unsafe Building Department, for the last many years, never really had a funding mechanism. Several years ago, we corrected that by diverting some funds out of the permitting department, and our Unsafe Building Fund now has a nice balance in it, and so now we're out trying to take care of a lot of derelict buildings and things out there that we need to get rid of out there in this county that's long overdue. So we've been, I think, last fall, we got 6 tore down, and I think we have another 6 ready to go in again. So one more thing that we're trying to clean up out here, and this is all unincorporated county-wide, so it's all over the place, but we're tackling it. So Andrew has been a big part of pushing that forward, and we want to continue the progress there. So just wanted to give everybody a little bit of an update. Next up, we have GIS. This is General Insurance Services out of Valparaiso here, and they have something that they're going to propose to us. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you doing?
Great, how are you guys?
Good.
Yep, so just wanted to propose the consulting agreement with the group health insurance for the county. Obviously, we've got a pretty unique strategic opportunity here, and look forward to working with you guys.
Okay.
So this would be the next step in the ever-evolving county health insurance program, and this has kind of got the groundwork laid. And so now this is the hope of being able to continue to mine through our plan and how things are done to attempt to continue to drive the cost down and provide better coverage, but utilize all the tools that we have. I know you've spent some time with the commissioners on what some of those strategic plans would be, and basically this would allow you to come in with that contract on that consulting agreement to do those things here, which you guys have been doing quite a bit for other municipalities, LaPorte County, several school corporations. So this would allow us to hopefully continue to mine that cost down in an effective manner. So I don't know if the commissioners have any questions, but we did have the presentation, so.
You looked at the agreement, Scott?
Yes. It's a flat fee agreement.
Well, as most people that come to these meetings know, I always like to give a little bit of a history lesson. When 5 years ago, I think this county spent right around $14.8 million a year in health insurance. This year, we're going to come in right around 8.6 a year. That's a year. And we feel that where we're at in our health insurance, and we have a very good, robust plan and a clinic, but we're also, now that we've mined a lot of that cost out of our plan, now we're into the parts of the plan where you have to grind it out, and it's training, health insurance in a large group like this is you have to constantly work at it every day. It's always, you're always trying to get your group in a good way where they're healthy, the trajectory's right, safety training, all these things that go on, and that's where we're at in our plan. GIS is based out of Valparaiso. They've been handling they were the ones so far that have been handling our property and casualty. A little bit of history there. 5 years ago, we were right around $1.9 million a year on our property and casualty insurance. This year, we're going to be right around 1.2, and we went from a high-risk carrier to Travelers. That's a big move, and a lot of that happened because of GIS and a lot of the in-service training that we have going on here every day, and that's the part of the insurance business, and that's part of having 600-plus employees. That's the part that is not the fun part. It's not the glamorous part, but it is so key to helping drive down your cost and getting everybody on your health insurance and your property and casualty rowing in the right direction. So we're in a good place right now, but I think we feel there's more meat on the bone, and we're going to continue to keep driving those costs down So it frees up dollars to do things that are maybe much more needed in this county rather than overpaying for a service that we can get for a much less cost. So that's just a little bit of history, and I think from my perspective, moving this over to a local firm and doing that, I think is, for where we're at, they're right down the street. So when we have meetings and we do things, they're right here. They don't have to come from out of town. They don't have to, and that's the redundancy, and that's the repetition that we're trying to go after here. So I feel it's a logical move from what I've seen in the performance that we've seen to this date. It doesn't mean that we're changing anything. It just means that we're making things better, and we're going to continue to drive those costs down. So there's my plug for what I feel is the right move, but I'll throw it to the other members of this board.
Well, as you touched on, Jeff, that, to take it from $14 million down to $8 million roughly, and do that without decreasing the benefits to the employees or increasing their premiums is almost unheard of, and it honestly is. And I think that also the advent of our creating our HR department a couple of years ago, where there's more interfacing there going on with the employees and health issues, it's tantamount that we have a firm locally that is on call and is over here in a minute's notice or so when we need answers. So, and you guys have certainly showed your worth so far, so appreciate it.
And I just want to be clear, we're not changing our health plan, we're not changing our prescription plan, we're not changing our clinic plan. All of those things are remaining in place. This is another avenue to be able to take all of those pieces that we have with a new strategic type of plan that we're hoping to develop with this to help make sure. One example would be that we're going to be able to know whether or not our people are going to maybe not the best choice for surgeons, but due to ratings and things of those natures, and along with the cost. And, we've seen examples of, even within our current insurance plan, where we have employees going to maybe not the most highly rated provider, but are paying the cost as if they are going to the most highly rated provider. And so when I say this is the next step, this is to get in and actually dial down so that our people are getting the best care that they're paying for. Okay, so that we're not paying for care that isn't necessarily to the standard that's available out there. And this is the way to be able to get in and have somebody here on a basically almost a weekly, bi-weekly basis to dial in the dashboard of how everyone is doing, and to make sure that we've got the education out there and the reach to be able to help the employees utilize the tools we have more effectively. So again, we're not changing anything, we're attempting to make it what we have better.
Yeah, you guys have done a phenomenal job over the last several years, so kudos to you guys. That's, like you said, it's unheard of. And as Commissioner Good said, there's still some more meat on that bone, so let's roll up our sleeves and get to work.
Thank you.
Laura? All right, throw it to the floor. What do you want to do?
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for the health insurance consultant proposal to GIS, accepting it. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. A lot of meetings coming up. We look forward to it. See ya.
Likewise. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up, we have Kate Sanders. Kate is our grant writer that we have used at the county up here, so any type of grants that we try to go after, we try to funnel those through Kate, and this is her general services agreement for another year, so I want to put it to the board for action.
She has more than paid for herself over the years. I enjoy doing this one every year. Motion to approve Kate Sanders' grant writing contract.
Second.
We have motion and a second for Kate Sanders. She's our grant writing services contract for the county. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign, motion carries. Next up, American Structure Point. American Structure Point, this is for their general services contract for the year. This is only a one-year contract. All of our consultants that we deal with on engineering and architectural are always bound by a one-year agreement. So we have used American Structure Point as our general services engineering firm for the last 4 years, and This is a continuation of that contract for 2020.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for general services contract for American Structure Point. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Motion carries. Next up, we have some funding and development agreements. Can I do all these at once,
Yes.
Mr. Attorney McCoy?
Call them all.
Come on up, Lorelei and Dave. Good morning. We're going to vote on all these on one, Dave, so, okay. So what we got here is a cooperative funding arrangement, development agreement between the Convention and Visitors Bureau and the Porter County Board of Commissioners. I don't know if you wanted to say anything?
Just very quickly, this is the implementation of a strategy that the County Council and the Visitors Commission adopted a number of years ago to funnel some of the innkeeper tax dollars directly to the three venues under your purview and the Park Department for purposes of enhancing their promotional efforts. And it's a total of $150,000. $38,120 going to the three venues that are under your authority, which you've alluded to, the Memorial Opera House, the Expo Center, and the museum. And then the Park Department is the recipient of the fourth layer of this. And again, because it's under your jurisdiction, you need to be the signatories to the agreements. And I'll parenthetically add, from an editorial perspective, I think it's worked well. It's enhanced these entities' ability to promote themselves and engage in activities that bring visitors to Porter County.
Well, I think it's appropriate that we're acting on this today because we have a lot of people from the Fair Board here for the Expo Center. And then I see Scott back there from the Memorial Opera House shaking his head pretty adamantly. So I know it's given us a good boost, and I think we've seen the results from the activity of the Memorial Opera House, and now with the refurbishing of the Expo Center. I think we have a runway here that we can go out and get after it. So. And the museum, too. I didn't want to keep Kevin out of here. He's probably not here today, but, I mean, they're doing really cool things down there as well, too. So it's great to see these type of venues in our county, and that we're sort of sharing the funds and trying to put them to work where they need to be put. So I want to thank the Convention and Visitors Bureau for their willingness to help us out, and I'll throw it to the floor.
Motion to approve the three agreements.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for the three agreements between the Porter County Convention and Visitors Bureau and the Porter County Board of Commissioners. That would include the Memorial Opera House, the Porter County Expo Center, and the Porter County Museum Foundation. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Motion carries. Thank you again for the dough.
Thank you.
Next up, we're going to receive, well, hopefully we've already received, and we're going to open bids for furniture for 157 Franklin, South Franklin. That's the old jail down the street, which we're feverishly working on and going to be hopefully moving into sometime the second, third quarter of this year. First up, we have Valpo Annex, Porter County Valparaiso Annex Furniture. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Pulse Technology out of Chesterton, Indiana. You need to, I'll just read the lump sum.
Yeah.
The lump sum number is $270,097.97. Yeah, that's there. Just these two?
Yes.
Their quote is $310,148.55. So there are two bids. Yeah. Yeah, that's good. Now, also, these bids came in and we had them bid the per price, per piece. So now that we have our per piece price, we're actually in our Buildings Facilities Department right now. It's actually in the difficult process of assessing the furniture that we have throughout the entire county. we're doing an inventory, and it's been daunting, to say the least, because it's all scattered all over. But we're trying to put it all together. We're trying to piece the furniture that's still good, the furniture that's not any good, and then what we need to buy it. So this isn't us a blanket going out and spending $300 or whatever $1,000 to go buy a bunch of furniture. We're going to try to be very thoughtful. We're going to try to be reusing furniture where it's necessary. So once again, we're trying to take a very disciplined approach to this before we pull the trigger on the purchase order. We will be back around in here when we get ready to do the purchase order, I would assume, right, Attorney McClure? So we'll have to, once we award, we'll have to go back through this again, and you'll be hearing about it at that point.
And this is the estimate based upon all the furniture for the entire building, new, except the 911 console desks.
Right. Which we're working through that as we speak, too, right, Tony? I'm learning a lot about call center desks, and it's quite it's pretty interesting, to say the least. I thought I'd never say that, but it's pretty interesting, the stuff that's out there today. So yeah, so thank you. We'll be back further. Stay tuned on the furniture situation at 157. Next up, we have Dave Bagnall from the Fair Board. Morning, Dave.
Good morning.
How you all doing?
Great.
I see you got some things you want to throw by us, huh?
Yes. So Mrs. Blaney, Mr. Good, Council, and Mr. Biggs, thanks for affording us this opportunity here to come before you. As you know, the Porter County Fair is a large draw in Porter County and the Northwest Indiana during the course of the summer. And one of our main goal is to appeal to over 1,000 kids that are in our 4-H program. And nationwide, there's over 25 million alumni and 500,000 volunteers, as well as numerous kids throughout the country. And the goal is to try to create confidence, curious and resilient kids through 4-H youth programs, giving back to the community and empowering 6 million kids. So 1,000 in our community is a good number. And years ago, we came up with when the county moved the fairgrounds out to 215 Division Road, the Porter County Agricultural Society built these buildings, which were the swine barn, the cattle barn, the show arena, and then we gave them to the county. And according to our lease agreement under contract number 10, or item number 10, it talks about any time that there's a new building or change out there that we need to get the approval of the county. And so that's the reason that we're here today. The horse barn is the item that we're going to talk about today. It is the oldest building out there, and it's sorely in need of repair. When it was built, it probably didn't use pillars to go beneath the ground that were treated, and they've rotted off, and they've been replaced on several times, and the walls move, and it isn't probably the most perfect building for a horse project, and at this given time. And so we've come up with an idea because there's with the fair. Because of the economy and things of such, large animals have decreased, and smaller animals, we have a burgeoning problem with that because the goat project has just grown like crazy. The poultry has grown, but in addition to that, we're faced with other obstacles, one of them particularly called E. coli. So we put a committee together, and of which a part are Mike Hurlitz and Marty Good, and to try to solve our problem. And because of fecal matter, we need to grow the goat project, and it made the most sense to turn our poultry barn into a goat barn, move the poultry across the road during the fair, so that, because the poultry, when they show, they do it in their own building, not carrying fecal matter across the food bidway. So we came up with the idea, as you see on the picture here, where we would suggest to tear down the existing building, which is about 15 or 20,000 feet. I think it's all over 100 by 200, so it's 20,000 feet, and replace it with either two 75 by 60s or a 75 by 60 and a 75 by 160 and a 60 by 160. We've gotten a preliminary bid, and we haven't gone extremely deep into that because we need the blessings of the commissioners to be able to do that. And so I have a projected bid here of what it would cost to do our project. And would you like me to hand it to you?
Just read it.
Okay. So building barn number 1 is $118,000. Building barn number 2 is $138,000. Electrical, we got a rough estimate of $85,000. Horse stalls, which we would get 60 horse stalls, portable, and clay line and building demo, we come up to about $435,000. That's building a 60 by 160 and a 75 by 160. At further review, we might consider doing two 75 by 160s, and we think that this would also play into the county's hand because off-season, other than the 10 days of the fair, in the past you've had horse shows out at the expo, and it would be a great play to do that. Turning the barns a quarter turn puts them in unison with the existing barns out there, and that picture is pretty close to scale, so it doesn't take away existing green space for the people to prep their horses and things like that. So anyway, I've pretty much laid out the conversation that we need to talk about here.
You putting a new wash stall on there too?
We would not at
Okay.
the first year, not the first year. No.
Okay.
But before you get deeper into that, I wanted to review a couple other things. Per our management and our lease agreement, one of the things that the Porter County Ag Society does is we pay for all the maintenance on all the buildings aside from the Expo and Expo East. And I put together a rough analysis of what we've spent since the year 2015 on maintaining those buildings. And what I'm saying in maintaining those buildings is we've painted buildings, we've painted the grandstand, we've put blacktop down, and we are totally self-funded. Unlike Illinois, all the fairs get $54,000 in premium money. Porter County fairs in Indiana get no premium money. So we're totally self-funded. That's why we bring in big concerts. That's why we do all the things we do to be able to try to generate the money that we can. And since 2015, without labor, volunteer labor, and things like that, we've spent $763,000 maintaining those buildings, which the county has not had to find funds to pay for. And that's part of our management agreement, our lease agreement, and we are thrilled to be able to do that. But it's sort of staggering. I don't think the people of the community know that we get no funds from anyone else. We're totally self-suspended, and that we spent this kind of money reinvesting back into Porter County. So, and I have a sheet here that I want to give to you guys before I leave, so that you can see.
I would also recommend to the Fair Board or the Ag Society, whomever, that they send a letter to the county council.
Okay.
Because they are the fiscal body of Porter County, and I think they need to see this for a lot of reasons. But I think it's, we try to share stuff back and forth, and I would just make a recommendation. I think that would be a great thing to send to them too, so they're informed as well.
So, so one of the prides of the Porter County Fair, besides taking these 1,000 kids and helping them get away from being in front of a computer screen or whatever they do, is that we've become known in Indiana and maybe the Midwest for bringing in incredible talent to our grandstand. And a couple of years ago, and I'll mention his name, Andy Bozick found out how much we paid for Brooks and Dunn. And it first blushed, I think it was a little bit of an issue, but we, the way the concerts work is, it's not a secret. We spent $500,000 for Brooks and Dunn. But the way the concert business is with Live Nation, it's a really, really difficult job to get those acts booked. And people say, well, then they take all the numbers and they figure it out, and they figure that there was $750,000 gross potential if we sold that out. But the way that the concert business works is that these guys, the labels and the booking agencies only allow us to make so much money. So our offer to Brooks and Dunn was $500,000 at $600,000 is a split point. So Brooks and Dunn gets the first $500,000. At $600,000, you split the money 85-15, and guess who gets the 85%? Not us. So we are allowed to make $100,000, and we get the privilege of paying for a $35,000 stage, the production company, and all those things. So, we use that to draw people to the Porter County Fair, to get them through our gates so we can get gate admission, we get a commission off the rides and this and that, and that's how we are able to do it. We're not getting fat out there, but we're working hard to...
It's all the local vendors.
Yeah, and we the money comes back into the communities because they buy diesel fuel and food from people, and so... we're an entity that is really a giving entity, and maybe we need to do a little better job of PR of telling our community how much we do give back. But anyway, so that's sort of how it works, so that a lot of people can understand better the economics of it. So.
Yeah, I think just in the last couple of years, what you've donated to the food bank.
$36,000 last year in cash.
That's a lot of money for a food bank.
Yeah, a lot of people.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah, a lot of people take the food that they get and then they do a multiplier, but we give $36,000 in cash, which buys a lot of food, So anyway, I've pretty much told you everything I would like to tell you. There's one other thing. There's a management agreement that was signed in 2004, and in that management agreement, it says that it's supposed to be revisited every 5 years. It hasn't been revisited. But there's a couple things that are obsolete or not current, and we would like to have the Fair Council draft up a new management agreement and send it to you for your review and see just so that, it's an election year, and we'd like to make sure that all the i's are dotted and the t's are crossed.
We appreciate that.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
So would we.
Yeah.
No, I think I think I've actually talked to some of the Fair Board members about that, and it's something we just haven't gotten to because we got a lot going on up here, but it's overdue, and I think we would honor that, and let's get it going.
Okay.
And I would just send it to Attorney McClure, and he'll keep us informed.
And if you need me to attend a meeting before you get to a draft, that'd be fine too.
Okay.
Yep.
So to give you a little, we recognize item number 10 in the lease agreement, and so we have a committee put together for this project. We have not totally presented this to the Fair Board, but we needed to do our due diligence
Clean
first.
the runway.
Yeah, exactly.
Gotcha.
Anyway, so there we have it.
Thanks, David.
And
We need a motion to approve the changes.
Yep.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for the Fair Board at the Porter County and I guess it's Ag Society, right?
it's the Porter County Ag Society.
Porter
yeah.
County Ag Society, to allow them to tear down and rebuild an existing horse barn and replacing it with two barns, a horse and poultry barn, and allowing them the approval to do that from this board. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Pose same sign, motion carries.
Okay, my last thing, and this is the exciting part of my job. And this is not public information. We intend on going public.
It's about to be.
I know, that's all right. We intend on going public within 2 weeks, but we have our lineup set for the Porter County Fair this year. Sunday night, which I'm really excited about, we have two classic Motown groups, the Temptations and the Four Tops, performing at the bandstand. On Saturday night, we have
Sold people.
Yeah, for King and Country on Saturday night, which is a really great Christian group. Last year, we had a Mexican day, a brown day, whatever you want to call it, on Sunday afternoon, which was free with a mariachi band, and we intend on making that larger this year, which was really appealed to those people. On Thursday night, I'm missing Friday night for a major reason. On Thursday night, we have Brantley Gilbert and Lauren Elena. Lauren Elena was just on Dancing with the Stars. Brantley Gilbert's been out there on the concert tour for a long time. And people said that they didn't know that we could ever beat Luke Combs last year, but we're going to try our best this year, because on Friday night, we have Miranda Lambert booked, so.
Really?
Yeah, we do, so.
Wow.
And it's a hard job. She's, Live Nation puts 175-mile radiuses on these concerts. And one of the jobs I do is I book shows for other places. And I had a fair, or a festival in Montgomery, Indiana that wanted to use an act, and they had him in Louisville, Kentucky. So can you imagine, 175 miles from Louisville, it goes north of Lafayette to Nashville, this way and that way. But Miranda, I had the same issue with. She's playing in Twin Lakes, Wisconsin, which is 108 miles, but through begging and pleading and praying, we got Miranda confirmed for Friday night, so.
Big announcement, congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, she'll be great.
Well, thanks for your time, we appreciate it. Thank you.
Good seeing you. Okay, now we're going to move into some pay apps. I think I read through it. I think we can do all these in one.
Yeah, they're all pay apps.
I think when we make the motion, let's just make the motion based off what's the printed agenda, because it has all the dollar amounts and everything on there, pay apps. So I think we can knock this out with one fell swoop here.
Motion to approve the 8 pay apps for 157 Franklin Street renovation.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for the pay applications of 157 Franklin Street, pay apps 1 through 8, based on the accepted agenda of today. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Pose same sign. Motion carries. Now, up next, we have the Sheriff's Department. I think Edie's here. I saw her back there. Hi, Edie.
Hello.
How you doing?
Okay.
Hi.
This is Kathy. This is my assistant, Kathy Gruskovich. I thought I'd give her a little bit of experience coming and seeing you guys. So, and the sheriff and the chief are in a meeting this morning, and he's leaving for the afternoon, so.
Okay. So what we got up here is we have a grant. So Department of Homeland Security. And it's a
bond suit.
What's that?
$85,000 bond.
Okay. Oh, that's for the bonds.
Bond.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we got the grant, we got to do the grant fund, and then the grant itself is buying the bomb suit.
Is this first reading?
Yes,
This one?
for the
Because it
grant.
didn't, okay, so this is a first reading here?
Yeah,
For the number 1?
correct.
Okay, so I,
To do a public hearing.
Yes,
I figured because this is establishing a fund, right?
it's, yes,
Okay.
it's not, it's,
I just noticed on here it says contact Larry Sheep.
That's our leader of the bomb squad.
Perfect.
It's a patrol officer.
Perfect.
Okay.
Just making sure it wasn't someone else. He didn't-
Oh, document that got put on
We run
there?
across those.
We've had that happen for
Oh.
DocuSign.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes things will just pop up, or not pop up.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do here is we're going to suspend the commissioners' meeting. We're going to open up a public hearing. And in the public hearing, we're going to give 3 opportunities to remonstrate or 3 opportunities to be for. So what we're going to do here is the first call, we're going to ask for anybody that's wishing to not establish this fund, that is not in favor of establishing this fund, please step forward. Second call, anybody wishing not to set up this fund, please come forward. Third and final call, anybody wishing not to support this fund, please come forward. First call, anybody wishing to come forward and speaking in favor of this fund.
Second call, anybody wishing to speak in favor of this fund. Third and final call, anybody wishing to speak in favor of this fund. And that'll close the public hearing portion. We'll reopen the commissioners' meeting, and I'll throw it to the board for action.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion.
On first reading, right?
Yep. We have a motion and second for securing, opening up a fund for State Homeland Security Grant Program in the amount of $85,621 on first reading. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Motion carries. We'll be back here at our next meeting for the second reading, and then you know the drill, Edie. Next up, we have Med-Ing LLC. This is a quote for the bomb suit ensembles in the amount of $85,621. What I want to know, Scott, is do we approve
Yeah, should
this
we wait?
before we do the second reading?
No, it's okay, the fund establishment is, we have the grant.
Oh, okay, so we're okay to move on this.
Correct.
All right.
Like, wait.
Anything you want to say about it?
Jim, you want to try on the suit or anything?
There must be some suit.
It is, it's got to protect him when he,
It's election
Open
year, we might
bomb.
need it.
Yeah, can you write that on? Really, Laura?
I don't know, Larry will.
Yeah, Larry, you got to talk to Larry.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for Med-Ing LLC for proposal to purchase, for Porter County Sheriff's Department to purchase a bomb suit in the amount of $85,621. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign, motion carries.
Just
Thank you.
curious, how long have we had the bombs, obviously, we have a bomb suit currently. How long have we had
It's very
that?
old and it's very outdated. It's
So we've
been-
had it.
Yeah, we've had it for a long time.
Probably
And I think it was another
decades?
Homeland Security, yeah, we've never had, I don't think we paid for that one, I think that was another grant.
Another grant.
Yeah.
And
And we're
and
also-
Larry's probably gained some weight too, hasn't he?
Well, I won't say that.
Oh, wow.
And other, we're, we go to other
This is
places.
an election year, right?
We are working on another.
I
grant.
just couldn't resist, I had to
Yeah,
say
I
it.
know, I'll let them know you said that.
No, thank you.
We're
Wow.
working on another Homeland Security grant too, but it's another big one, so hopefully we get that one.
Would we be able to use this same fund? Or do we have to do another fund?
For another
Unless
grant.
Oh, it's a okay.
Unless it's the same,
That's why I was
exact
looking at
same
you.
Yeah,
grant.
it'd have to be another one.
Yeah.
We were just, weren't we just called out on a bomb, according to, I read the art,
911 shaking their head, yes.
I read it in one of the newspapers. Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
They pulled what they thought was a grenade out of one of the creeks.
Calumet
Oh,
River.
okay. Yeah,
Calumet.
they would know more on that one.
That's scary. I mean, can you imagine?
No.
Yeah. So, anyway, we'll be back, so next, whatever our next meeting.
Whatever.
Date, yeah. Thank you. And welcome.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
Next up, we have the Parks Department. These are second readings. I see Dave coming up. At our last meeting, we approved these on first reading. So now this is second reading. We don't have to go into public. So I'll throw it to the board. Dave, did you want to say anything?
Just
or-
very quickly, first of all, Walter is dealing with a family issue and is not able to be here. To refresh your recollection, this is the creation of two funds, so the auditor has a depository for two grants that the Park Department has received, one from the Indiana Lake Michigan Coastal Grant Program, and the other one from the Conservation Fund, which we were class members of the Eldridge Pipeline litigation, and this is the result of the settlement of that case. We're receiving monies. The two together are $35,000. They will be used to enhance the acreage at the Brinka Cross Park. About a third of it will be additional parking. If you've had the opportunity to be up there, you know it's a very popular location, and our parking is problematic. The rest of it will be used and designated as a bird sanctuary. Bird watching is a significant tourism attraction in Porter County. We are on the major routes of the north-south migration of many birds, and we get a lot of people who want to bird watch. And we'll have then about 30 more acres of that type of terrain that will attract people to come and watch birds. So that's what we're doing.
All good stuff.
I agree.
We'll have to do these separately, right?
You can do them both together.
We can?
Yep.
Okay.
Motion to approve on second reading an ordinance to establish the fund for deposit of proceeds for the Indiana Lake Michigan Coastal Grant and similar ordinance from a conservation fund grant, both to the Porter County Park Department.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for an ordinance, two ordinances establishing funds as per the agenda. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Thank
Thank you, David.
Thank you.
Next up, Memorial Opera House. I've been looking forward to this discussion for quite some time. I think I know what it is, but I'm just want to sort of find out.
It's sort of interesting.
When I see stuff on here, this flying track system, it's sort of interesting.
Yes. So,
And can we use it here after you're done with it?
I can talk to the guys when they come in a couple weeks and see what we can do. It'd make these very entertaining meetings for
Set
sure.
it up in the atrium
Yeah,
there.
take off and away you go. It's great.
What is it?
All right, so with Mary Poppins, flight is kind of an integral part of the show. We have two characters that fly in the show, obviously Mary and then Bert. And so when I was at a conference in November, we were discussing the show with about 100 other theater managers, and they're like, you have to do flight in the show. You just absolutely have to. And ZFX is one of the companies that was very highly recommended. They do a lot of work on Broadway. They do a lot of work with national tours. Pardon the pun, they're not a fly-by-night agency. And I looked at them, I looked at a couple other groups, none of them really responded or were astronomically expensive. And so when we discussed this with ZFX, they will come in, they'll install a temporary track, and they've already been working with Stretch, our technical director, as far as specs of the building, what's safe, what's best to make everything work, correct weighting, all of that, and they'll be coming in to train our flight crew for 2 days, and then they'll come and they'll take everything out, and it's just a quick, easy installation. We're really excited about it because it also opens up the potential to a lot of other shows that we haven't really been able to take the option on, because Peter Pan, Little Mermaid, there's a myriad of shows that we can look at now, especially if this relationship goes well with these guys. So we're very, very excited, and it came in at about a third of what I was expecting it to be cost-wise.
How is insurance?
Insurance, we are working with Attorney McClure.
We have been working with Scott and our insurance carrier. We've had discussions since before the holidays on exactly how it all works, and we think we've got the best way to, the wrinkle here is that it's not employees flying.
Right.
It's volunteers that are flying. But we think with working with our local agent, we're able to kind of work through those issues, and so we think we're going to be able to put those two people in a little better situation if something were to happen, or a lot better situation if that were to happen, and the county itself. So we've been looking at that for months, frankly. So everything's in line, and what we're probably going to end up doing is adding the two volunteer flyers to our work comp coverage.
Perfect.
Is this something that maybe we should have our building department kind of keep tabs on the installation of it?
Well,
Or is that,
I would say, in this particular case, no, because they're bringing it all, staying with all of the material, for lack of a better term, and then training the staff, and then when it's done, they're coming back to take it down and take it all back.
Correct.
So it's pretty all-encompassing, because in reviewing the contract, we're paying for them to be here for a couple of days and do the training. And
so it's not anything that's attached to our building?
It will be, it'll be temporarily.
It'll be temporarily attached.
Yeah,
but
and so, I mean, I don't have a problem with Ray being there,
Sure.
and making sure that there's not some sort of damage happening to the place itself, but from a safety standpoint, it's pretty all-encompassing what they're doing and what they're showing up with.
Yes.
I'm sure that they're used to working with historical buildings like ours.
Yeah, and they were very, very excited about, our building, and There were some limitations that they said, well, we'd love to do this for you, but we just can't because of space and things along those lines. But again, they're very flexible with working with what our needs are. So it's not just we fit in this cube and try and jam you in there, so.
Scott, do you know a lot of, you go to these conferences and talk to a lot of type venue-type managers. Do you know that a lot of places like this, have they ever gone in and put stuff in like this permanently and made it part of? I didn't know if it was a liability issue or, because, we have our plan that we went out through the grant to say what the next phase of the Memorial Opera House can be, and we've looked at that and studied that, and obviously we got to find the money and, money, but I'm just wondering if this is something that could be done
on a permanent,
inexpensively, or I don't know the parameters, but if we're going to upgrade our facilities, let's look to the future. Right?
Sure, absolutely.
Just curious.
Sure. Actually, that's a great question, and that is something that we've discussed. I discussed it with a couple of theaters. I've discussed it with this company. It's basically called Making Your Building. There's two productions that really heavily rely on flight that pretty much everybody in the world knows about, and they're Phantom of the Opera and Wicked. And so you make your building what's called Wicked Ready. And basically what it is they go in and they replace certain support beams in your building that may be wood, maybe, outdated. They replace them with steel reinforced beams because that's a huge part of making sure that permanent tracking is able to be structurally sound. So they would come in, they would give us the quote on, this is what you need to do in order to make your building Wicked Ready, and then we would go from there. So it's certainly something that we can start doing a little bit of homework on,
I think I would like for you to put that into your list of things if we ever get to the point where we start talking about this again. I don't want to forget this conversation.
Absolutely.
I think it's something we should look into.
Sure, I think that's a great idea.
The front of our building that's got all the historical
Yes,
restrictions.
yes.
So there's flexibility backwards.
Correct. It's, the facade of the building, they don't want us to do anything like remove bricks or, paint it purple or anything along those lines. Yeah, when we get back into the auditorium, there's a lot more that we can do.
And I know that, the concern for that building quickly approaches again because, we've had a couple bad winters, the tuck pointing. This is an old building. And at some point in time here in the very near future, we're going to have to figure something out about how we go in and upgrade and tuck point and redo a lot of work on that outside, because it's quickly approaching. And if we let it get too far, then you'll be playing catch up in the dollars and everything you spend. You'll never get ahead of it.
Right.
So I know that's coming, and I know we've been talking and meeting, but I just wanted to bring that up again and put it out there, let people know that the compression is starting to happen over there, and we're watching.
Thank you.
Becoming a need.
It's becoming a need, right.
I appreciate that.
Well said, yeah.
Great.
Okay, so we have a service agreement for a flying track system.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for ZFX Flying Effects for the Memorial Opera House. This is a service agreement for a flying track system. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Pose same sign. Motion carries. Thank you, Scott.
Thank you.
Great work out there again.
Thank you very much.
It shows like 90% sold out.
Yeah, we have less than 100 tickets left as of this morning, so.
And it opens when?
February 14th.
That's incredible.
So we're really, really excited. So, thank you.
Good. Thank you. Onward. Up next, Lance Bella. Emergency Management. Morning, Lance.
Morning.
How you doing?
Good.
So you got an ordinance here.
So basically what this is the original ordinance that was passed to enable the Emergency Management Advisory Council, and pursuant to state statute. The state statute had changed over the years, got recodified, and moved around. So the only thing this ordinance change is doing is going in and change the actual state statute citations themselves to be accurate according to current state law placement within the code. The EMA ordinances or state statutes haven't changed, but they've been moved around, so the numbers changed. our ordinance contained the state statute citations, so this revised it to correct those citations and re-adopt it.
Correct.
Okay. You want to add anything, Lance?
No, I appreciate Attorney McClure's help with this because there were so many references, I wouldn't have known where to start, and he helped sift through this so that we could have it accurate and then get it adopted, so appreciate it.
Good starting point for us. Okay.
Is this
This is just an ordinance.
motion to approve?
Second.
We have a motion and a second for an ordinance establishing a Department of Emergency Management and a Porter County Emergency Management Advisory Council. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, pose same sign, motion carries. Thanks.
Thank you.
Lance. Good seeing you. Next up, we have Anthony Stua, the 911 Director. Morning, Anthony.
Good morning.
What do you got for us? I know we've already done a little bit of celebrating ourselves.
Yes,
But why don't you bring everybody else up to speed?
So, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We have our first ever training manual to be adopted for Porter County 911. This will allow us to have consistency in our training. We have some amazing trainers and individuals that have been training for many years off of what they've been trained under and what they've understood to be the proper protocols for 911. This will give us the level of consistency we should have, provide the residents and the first responders adequate service in 911.
And I know we attended a meeting, was that last week?
Last Tuesday.
Last Tuesday, where the staff and the employees who came together to put all this stuff, the team, I guess I should say, and they gave us a presentation out at the 911 center. It was about an hour long, and we were very impressed. And this is, as we told you when you came on board, this was our number one goal.
Yes.
And we're going to keep moving forward and trying to create systems and policy that can last a long time into the future for this county. These are monumental tasks for putting a training manual like this together, especially in the area of the subject matter that we're working on. I think it became very apparent to all of us out at that meeting that you guys get pulled in many different directions, some that I could never even imagine. We're very proud of this, and I think everybody out there, I see the teams here are part of the team. We're going to continue to celebrate this, but knowing that we still have some work to do. So I just want to thank everybody again. Anybody else?
No, it's great staff, and it's great to get everything that's been up here for them on a piece of paper, so it can
Very much
be
so.
carried forward.
Yeah, and this is what, 200-300 pages of a complete training module?
You're on 361 pages right now, give or take.
361.
So I'll echo what everyone has said, but it's a monumental step forward that a lot of people out there, I think there was 12, 13 people that were part of the presentation, so a lot of people came together and did a lot of heavy lifting.
In a short period.
Got it condensed down into a program. We now can have an idea that we're 6 to 8 months away from getting people trained, and we can continue to tweak that as we run through this. But it's a monumental step forward, and I can't thank the team enough for coming together and putting it together and making this giant leap forward.
Yeah, other than, our county health department, our county courts, your department, the 911 department services are expected to service the municipalities, and I believe 11 in Porter County, 11 different municipalities in Porter County.
We are covering 8 of them right now, and also 17 of our fire jurisdictions that we provide service for.
That's a huge responsibility, because as you know, they all don't do the same thing the same way, or don't want to anyway.
We're working on that.
Yeah, but
Aren't we?
I know this board has been pushing toward that end the last couple of years, because we realized early on that a training manual was tantamount to, if we were going to get our applicants to a point to where they could sit behind a microphone or phone And because it was just, you know, as I think you would agree, it was just taking too long, the training process. It was kind of convoluted, you know, because we've had, for various reasons, we've had a swinging door of directors coming and going. And so we kind of took a different direction this last time out, and we're hoping that will calm the waters. And so you brought that home, so
I have
it's
to say, it
the
wasn't,
first positive indication we've made the right choice.
I do appreciate that, but it was my team who did it. Senator Gaios, she's our training coordinator, and she did a great job getting everybody together and pushing them to get this information brought into one document. Between her and our new quality assurance manager, Joan O'Neill, they've both been really revamping this, and everyone in the center has had some input in this. The trainers, even our admin assistants, reviewed and really got our grammar where it needed to be, especially some of us had to work on that. But they've come together. I am so proud of this team. We have an amazing center, and we have an amazing group that are providing 911 services to Porter County.
It's going to be a fantastic reference going forward, too, if people look back at it.
Thank you.
Well, thank you.
Yep. Do we need to formally accept this?
Yeah, we're just going to, what we have right now, because this thing's in, first of all, it's their document, it's proprietary, so we're going to go ahead and just, at this point in time, when we finally get all the page numbers fired away, we'll add the page numbers to it, but we're going to have it approved just at this point as the 911 training manual, and that way we can continue to modify it and work with it and refine it.
And it is proprietary.
Yes.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for the approval of the 911 training manual. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, pose same sign, motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Anthony.
Many meetings later, huh?
And when we say proprietary, every call center is run different. And the one thing when we were looking at trying to consolidate a manual, we went out and asked a lot of consultants, people that do this, and what we found out is there really wasn't much out there. And that's when we decided that we needed to pull up our sleeves and write our own. And if there is a manual out there, if we would have got it, they're probably doing something different, so it really wouldn't have probably fed into our system and how we do it. This is a result of that. So we're going to keep it pretty tight to our chest, and we also need to refine it over time. So this is a big step, but we still have more to do. So let the refinements begin. And then we also have to take this training manual and take our first set of people through the program. So we've written the manual, but we've not really done the other part of it yet. So as we're going through with our first group of trainers, we're also going to be looking at our manual, and we have to pivot and change some things. That's where we're going to make those changes, and that's when we move forward on that. So this is, I know we're celebrating a big day today, but we have a lot more to do, but we also need to celebrate the accomplishments as we move through this. It's only good for the people, we need to do this for them that put all the time and everything into this, and we do appreciate that. So just wanted to put a ribbon on that, just so everybody understands what we're doing here. Next up, we have Porter County Soil and Water Conservation, Michelle Benson. It looks like we're going to create a couple funds for them, for the Porter County Soil and Water District. So good morning.
Good morning. I'm not alone today. This is Jared O'Brien.
I've heard his name mentioned. Hi, Jared.
This is Brad Hunter. He's our new chairman this year.
Okay.
So basically, we just want to establish two funds because we believe the auditor's office is better capable of administering those funds.
Are you related to Jay?
Yes.
Jay and Cindy?
Yeah.
That's your parents?
Yes.
Okay. I know. All right. Jay is on our Stormwater Advisory Board, another person that gives his time to the county, too.
We're very fortunate, and Keith is back there. Keith
I saw Keith.
He's being a little shy.
He's been in the sight lines all day here today. Hi, Keith.
We're very blessed to have him.
Yeah. So, go ahead.
These are the ordinances that we'd like just to create a fund to receive Clean Water Indiana grant funds, that's state money, and then we have an ordinance to receive USDA and our CS funds, which is a federal
Okay.
fund. So I know we need thanks to Tony and the auditor's office, I'm going to give her a shout out. She was fabulous in providing me a lot of information. She kind of go ahead with the paperwork, so we're not wasting time. We like to be efficient, so I certainly appreciate her efforts. It's been fabulous.
That was a compliment, Vicki.
Yeah, they really do. They do an amazing job.
I know
She
there was a
doesn't know
lot
how to
of back.
take
She doesn't know how to take compliments. We talk about that a lot, because we compliment, she looks at me like, what are you doing? And I'm like, it's just part of it.
I think it's an upbringing, right?
She does a good job.
She does a very good job.
Yes.
And,
So we need public hearings.
yeah, we need public hearings. I think we're gonna have to do these separately too, I think. I don't think we can batch them together. Scott's coming in. We'll ask him when we get here, but I think we have to do them separately. Scott?
Yes.
We have to do these ordinances separately, right?
On first
On
reading.
first reading, okay, just wanted to make sure. Okay, so what we're going to do here is we're going to suspend the commissioners' meeting and open up a public hearing. And so what we do is we give 3 opportunities to speak in favor, 3 opportunities to speak against, then we'll close the public meeting, we'll vote on it, then we'll turn around and do the other fund the same way. So it's riveting stuff. What we'll do first is, anybody wishing to come forward and speak against this fund, establishing this fund.
Against getting grants.
Against getting grants, yeah. Second call, anybody wishing to come forward to speak against establishing this fund. And third and final call, anybody wishing to come forward to speak against establishing this fund. First call, anybody wishing to be in favor of establishing this fund. Second call, anybody wishing to come forward to speak in favor of this fund. Third and final call, anybody wishing to speak in favor of this fund. We'll close the public hearing, open up the commissioners' meeting, and I'll throw it to the floor for action.
Motion to approve an ordinance establishing non-reverting fund for the receipt of Clean Water Indiana grant funds for the Porter County Soil and Water Conservation District. First reading.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Motion carries. First reading. Now, second reading, we're going to, again, suspend the commissioners' meeting, open up a public hearing.
Second ordinance.
Second ordinance, this is the second ordinance, and this is establishing a non-reverting fund for the receipt of USDA NRCS funds for the Porter County Soil and Water Conservation. Anybody wishing to come forward to speak against establishing this fund? Second call, anybody wishing to come forward to speak against establishing this fund? Third and final time, anybody wishing to come forward and speak against this fund? First call, anybody wishing to come forward and speak in favor of this fund? Second call, anybody wishing to come forward and speak in favor of this fund? Third and final call, anybody wishing to come forward and speak in favor of this fund? Public hearing is now closed. We'll open it back up to the commissioners' meeting and throw it to the floor for action.
Motion to approve an ordinance establishing a non-reverting fund for the receipt of USDA NRCS funds for the Porter County Soil and Water Conservation District on first reading.
Second. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Motion carries. We'll be back here at our next commissioners' meeting for the second reading. And if you want to show up, you can, but usually second readings, we'd love to have you here, but if you can't make it, just let us know.
We'll probably have a representative. I'll probably be doing a school
Okay.
program, but someone will be here.
Okay.
Thank you.
We're halfway there.
Yes, thanks so much.
Thank you. Have a good day. Okay, next up, we have the Development and Stormwater Management. Don, I have not forgotten about you guys over there. You're coming up next, so just hang in there. Good morning, gentlemen. Good morning. First up, we got, this is for REMC. This is a utility agreement for Bridge 68. This is Smoke Road over Jones Ditch. What you got?
Utility agreement, it's, REMC is going to have to move some of their poles, and since REMC does not place their poles within the right-of-way, this is, we have to reimburse them on this. This is the federal aid project, so we see this as being the only utility right now that we're having to move on this particular.
Okay.
And the amount's what, 17?
Like $1,800 bucks.
Yeah, $1,743.31.
That's right.
Yeah.
Need a motion, Mr. Chairman?
Yep.
Motion to approve?
Second.
We have a motion and a second for a utility agreement for Bridge 68 with REMC. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Pose same sign. Motion carries. Next up.
This is the construction engineering agreement with SEH Incorporated for Bridge 62, which is 625 west over the Kankakee River. INDOT is going to be letting this project. I believe it's on Wednesday, March 4th, that it's going to be let. And so we're getting the construction engineering agreement in place for the observation on this.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second discussion. This is a bridge that is a very, very important bridge to Porter County. It spans over the Kankakee River. This is one of the areas where we can watch and see what happens to that mighty Kankakee when it gets fired up. We're going in and making some changes on this bridge. I think, why don't you give some engineering specifications to this bridge, because I think it's, the baluster, that.
Sure. Yeah, it's going from, it currently has 5 piers going underneath on that, it hangs up a lot of debris. It's going down to 3 piers on this. We're also raising the bridge up, and instead of having the concrete box beams that we have that seems to always be a problem for us, we're going to what is referred to as a concrete bulb beam or I-beam on this particular bridge, try to help get, again, the debris and items to flow on through, so.
Pretty good for a non-engineer, but I think that's a good summary. What it will do...
Adam's laughing too back there. I just want to put it all on back there.
That's the rough department up there. As you said, this is a very important bridge, so we're increasing the elevation, the low chord elevation of the structure. We're opening up the waterway so that it's not catching so much woody debris. Woody debris is not banging off of the coping and the structural members. So we're very excited to be moving forward with this project.
And it's a tough one too, because there's a house right on the river too, so we had to make accommodations for his driveway, and it's not been a very easy thing to do down there. It's very complicated, and
Very important for the area.
but it's very important, because if anybody's been down there and they see Mr. Mish out there on his backhoe pulling logs up out of the water, that's, if you ever get a chance to do that, I know that sounds sort of crazy, but it's pretty wild.
It looks like land. It gets so backed up.
Yes, it's an island of debris.
Land.
And our highway,
You could walk down
actually, our
there.
highway department just cleared the bridge within the last couple weeks here, so.
Yep.
Took a lot
That
of
should
wood
make a
out.
huge difference, I would think, raising that bridge up and going from
It'll be
West Pine.
similar to like Taylor Bridge, which is 250 east upstream. It'll be similar to that.
And we don't have a problem there.
Well, we still have stuff
But
that
not to the
accumulates,
degree.
but not nearly the amount
Yeah.
that accumulates at existing bridge.
Cool. I would remember that, Bob, next time he asks for a day off.
And next time there's a planning topic coming up, I'll let Mike discuss it.
Understand.
I just want to thank everybody for allowing us to sort of explain this a little bit, because it is an important bridge for us, and we've had our eyes on it for quite some time, and we're now a lot of flooding. We're now starting to get into making things happen and correcting things, and that's what we're up here to do. So I know I'm excited personally about this project. So wow, a bridge, right? Stormwater. All right, DLZ, supplemental agreement number 2 for 100 South. As everybody knows, there is a lot of work going on 100 South. Right now, a lot of the work is at the...
Did we vote on this? No.
Oh, we didn't vote on that, I'm sorry.
Motion to approve the construction engineering agreement for Bridge 62 with SEH.
That's my fault.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for SEH agreement for Bridge 62. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign, motion carries. Now we'll get into DLZ. If anybody has gone down on Highway 2 between Valparaiso and Hebron, you'll see there's a lot of work going on at the 5-way. I think if you're from Porter County, I think everybody knows what the 5-way means. The state of Indiana is putting a roundabout there, and if you've been out there's a lot of grade issues. There's 5 different roads coming into one. So they are going to be put, that's long, they're starting construction on the roundabout. And then from that roundabout point at 2, all the way to the Lake County line, Porter County, we're going in and we're going to be shaving hills, increasing the county roads to enter onto 100 South. We're going to be widening and improving all the intersections at all the county intersections. We're going to be doing a lot of ditch work up in through there, and what else, guys?
Increasing visibility.
Did you mention reducing hills?
Hills and
shaving.
Shaving.
Hills and reducing sag, so better sight distance in the
Right.
in the horizontal and the vertical.
Yep.
Right.
So a lot safer roadway
Yes.
and
I
intersections.
travel that road a lot, and it's dearly needed.
There's going to be some areas that you're going to see curb and gutter, and there's other areas you're going to see open ditches on it. Mike and I sat down and went through the review on that. I mean, in the curb and gutters, there's pretty significant cuts in those areas, and what we're trying to do is reduce the impact on the neighboring areas on that, so we can slope up from the curbs and don't have to have the shoulders with open ditches there.
And I will like to give a shout out to the engineering department, because when we met on this about 8 months ago, we made it very clear that we wanted a proactive approach for the property owners, and to go sit down with them at their kitchen tables and talk to them about this, instead of just getting a letter in the mail. And I know our department has done that, and I think, you're still going to have your problems you need to work through, but I just want to commend them following through with what we instructed you to do, because it really has taken the air out of the tire, so to speak. And I think, once again, it's good government and work and being proactive rather than reactive. And that's what we're trying to strive for up here. We still have some ways to go, but we're clawing it back. So just wanted to.
And now what? The extra time it takes.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Mhm.
Yep.
It is.
And thanks, Matt, for that, too. 'Cause
Yeah.
Matt's
Yes,
the kitchen
Matt-
table guy, or
Matt
Matt, our
did the
highway engineer.
Matt
Right.
Gavelik, and then Tricia with DLZ.
DLZ,
Yes,
yep.
did a great team on that.
And that's a daunting job, to go into people's houses and sit down and talk about things like this. It's not fun. So, but I think it's for the good of the county, and it's for the safety of the county, and I think it's long overdue. So, so this, what's the supplement to, Bob? What is this for?
There was considerable amount of wetlands along, I think it was 725 West in that area, if I remember correctly, and the
West
geotechnical,
675
right.
East and 720.
They wanted to delineate the wetlands and they also ran across some peat.
Oh.
And they really wanted to find the limits of the peat on this, for the substructure of the road. So that's what here again, I'm doing this engineering stuff here. So, but, yeah, exploration for that.
Yeah.
Well, I'll handle the lawyer part, and the additional part of the contract would add $22,760, is what the additional add to it.
But you have to delineate it.
We had to, and we had to explore it because our pavement design is going to be critical in that area.
It's either more stone or more something, right?
Right, exactly.
So, okay.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a supplemental agreement number 2 for the 100 South project for DLZ. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, same sign, motion carries.
Can I ask one more, what kind of timing are we looking at
Yeah.
for making moves on this?
I just at the last meeting requested Tricia Nugent with DLZ to give me an updated calendar of events. Basically, when we're in the right-of-way acquisition, they predict it's going to take about a year to get through it all. So I'm assuming we're looking at late summer that we probably will finish on this. Then they'll be able to, we'll do the right-of-way clear letter. They'll be able to submit their final tracings. And I think we're looking at a March letting next year on the construction.
21.
But I believe that's what it is right now, but I'm asked for a more detailed agenda, and as soon as I get that, I'll find that out, pass it on.
And how's right-of-way acquisition going?
So far, so good. We might have one hiccup. I'm trying to get that cleared up, doing a little negotiation with somebody.
It would be a miracle if we didn't have one.
Right.
I was going to say
Right.
only one.
And there's another issue that I'm also trying to work through, with the purchases of the properties and everything like that. I've requested DOZ to give me some further information on it, so some parcel owners out there made me aware of a item, so.
Okay. Thank you. All right, next up, we have an ordinance that's going to be establishing a right-of-way permit fund. And what's this for, Bob?
We've been working on redoing, well, you all passed the recent fee ordinance, and what we did is we included the highway engineering fees and a lot of the engineering fees with stormwater. So we revamped the whole structure of the department's fee ordinance on that. Well, now, what this is going to do is take the highway engineering permit fees that we bring in and put it into a particular fund. This fund, then, the commissioners can use, and it's spelled out in the ordinance, they can use it for special projects, whether it's hiring a consultant for a traffic study, or if there's another paving project that needs to be done, it can be tossed over towards the highway department. I kind of left it in the ordinance to be a little broad-ranged on how the commissioners can use this, and of course...
But it's all related to highway or highway engineering.
Exactly.
Okay, so it does have a
Exactly.
limit.
It's a limit, it's limited within those basic bundles.
Correct.
Okay. So what we're going to do here is suspend the commissioners' meeting, open up the public hearing. I'll give first call, anybody wishing to come forward to speak against this ordinance. Second call, anybody wishing to come forward to speak against this ordinance. Third and final call, anybody wishing to come forward to speak against this ordinance. First call, anybody wishing to come forward to speak in favor of this ordinance. Second call, anybody wishing to speak in favor of this ordinance. Third and final time, anybody wishing to come forward to speak in favor of this ordinance. Public hearing is closed. We'll reopen the commissioners' meeting, and I'll throw it to board for action.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for an ordinance establishing a right-of-way permit fund, first reading. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. And last up,
Performance guarantee renewal for Tower Meadows, Buds Plus, this came in the mail.
We should adopt this.
Yes.
Motion to approve.
Second.
we have a motion and a second for a performance guarantee renewal for Tower Meadows subdivision. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Pose same sign. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Before we move to the presentation, I'd like to have someone from the Valparaiso Community Festival and Events come forward. They're requesting a use for sections of the courthouse. On the agenda, you'll see the dates and when and what they're trying to do here. Obviously, they need commissioners' approval.
Yep.
And so, thank you for coming and sitting through our
Oh,
meeting.
no.
We always do these at the end, and sometimes
I know.
our meetings get a little long-winded. That's probably because of me. But this is for the use of the downtown. In addition, they're requesting access to the building's roof to place an antenna on the roof for their two-way radios. They're also requesting the gate for the judges' parking lot be left open on Friday, September 11th, after courthouse is closed, so they can locate the EMS tent there for the day of the festival day. We'd like to confirm that the admin garage will be open the day of the festival with a parking fee of $10.
Yes. Mhm.
So that's what's in front of us.
Can we do the other one, too?
Yes,
Which,
number 2.
oh, geez, I didn't even see, okay, yep. And the second one is a request to use all sections of the courthouse ground on Friday, October 16th, 2020, from 2 to 7 for the Fall Harvest Festival, which includes trick-or-treating downtown.
Motion to approve both requests, and including confirming the parking fee of $10 vehicle in the admin garage.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Pose same sign. You're good to go.
Thank you very much.
And thank you for using the new procedure.
Oh, it was very easy. Thank you.
Very nice, thank you.
Yep.
Have a good day.
Okay, is there anybody else here? We might as well get, I think Kate's here. Yeah, she's here. Kate is here from Family Youth Services Bureau, and they're doing the Chalk the Walk. They do it every year, June 13th, 2020.
set up as per diem. Throw it to the floor.
Motion to approve.
Second?
We have a motion and a second for Family Youth Services Bureau for reserving the courthouse on Chalk the Walk, June 13th, 2020. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Pose same sign. Motion carries. You're good to go. Thanks for coming.
Jason's here.
Hmm?
Is Jason here? This guy?
Is Jessica here? Is Jessica?
She's not here.
No, Jessica, but we need to continue Jessica to the February,
Okay. Well,
I told her we would go ahead and do it.
because our policy says we don't do it unless
For the
they're here.
courthouse. This is for admin.
Okay,
So that's why we decided to go ahead and hear it.
that's fine.
All right?
Motion to approve the request by Jessica Corral.
Second. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Motion carries.
I'm sorry, I was sitting there reading it.
We got, is Jason here? Bucks, Jason's here. We might as well just, you're the last one. Come on forward, and then we'll get to our IT presentation, so,
You're welcome to stay.
yeah.
I have some maps. Did you take a look at the maps?
Sure, I'd be interested.
In case you do it?
No, just, are you gonna run it?
Just the bike route.
That's news.
So I can avoid the traffic?
Oh, yeah. That'd be huffs and puffs over to...
Sure, 11 miles, yeah. I wouldn't do that in a bicycle.
It is a bicycle.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, it's not
Or
front.
a swim, bike, run. All three.
Oh, it's a truck. Oh,
That's gonna hurt. It's gonna leave a mark.
I'm with Northwest Indiana Triathletes. We're a bunch of triathletes from Porter, Lake, and LaPorte counties, and there are some in actually like Stark County also as well. We've had triathlon in Ancilla College last year in Plymouth, Indiana, and this year we're trying to go for a more of a local triathlon, and we're teamed up with Hobart High School, and we would like to have the route, it's an indoor-outdoor triathlon, so the indoor portion will be swimming in the new pool at the Hobart High School, and then the bike route, which will go into Porter County, which is why I'm here. There will be a few miles across the county line road into Porter County, which the riders will be racing on. The roads will be open to traffic, so we're not going to ask for a closed course. And we will have either police officers or basically volunteers at certain areas on the route. Where we would like to have Hobart police officers would be on South County Line Road, just over there by 10th Street. And just to kind of, because that is kind of a busy corridor there with people heading to the mall and such. And once we cross County Line Road, we will head on over to 750 West, and we'll just have some volunteers over there at the, I believe it's County Road 600 and County Road 750 West, just to kind of help with traffic there. And also on, I believe it's 450 North, I believe it is, and 750 West, we'll have some people there too, because that's not cross traffic doesn't stop there at those points. And then also there's another section on, I believe it's County Road 650 West. We're going to, basically the road kind of diagonals, and we're just going to basically make a U-turn there, and we'll have somebody there as well in case there's any cars coming. And then we'll come back on 250 West, or I'm sorry, 350 West, and then we'll be on County Line Road just for a small portion, and then hang a left there on, I think it's called Hobart Hill Road, and then we'll be back into Lake County there. And we're planning on having police officers just south of the railroad tracks there, because there are railroad tracks there at 350 North. So that way, no vehicles get stuck on the tracks if a train comes or anything like that, if the race is coming through. So I have any questions?
So you're working with local law enforcement for traffic safety?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And how many are you expecting participants?
Well, this is going to be a new triathlon for this area, so we're hopeful we could get about 100 participants, but we're not sure. So,
To be determined.
How long is the swim and run?
Well, the swim is going to be in the Hobart High School pool. It's 500 meters, so it's going to be 10 laps in the pool. And the bike course is 11.5 miles, roughly. And the run will be 3.1 miles. And the run is all in Lake County, so I didn't bring a map for that.
A motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for the Northwest Indiana triathletes to hold a triathlon. What's the date?
April 26th.
On April 26th.
Well, good luck with that.
Thank you.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Pose same sign. Motion carries. You're good to go.
Thank you.
Yep,
Thank you.
thank you for waiting. Last up, we have Don Welzen with the IT department, just to give us a little bit of an update on where we're at with a few things within the IT department. Morning, Don.
Hi.
What do you got for us?
Brought Joe Beckman with me. He's from Purdue University Cybersecurity Group. And if you want to go ahead and give him more information about yourself, and he's got a presentation we'd like to show.
Yep.
Of, I'll just let him explain it.
Welcome.
Thank you. Nice to be here. So I'm here on behalf of Purdue University's Technical Assistance Program. There I am. I was here in the fall and performed an IT security, cybersecurity risk assessment at Don's request for the county. And so I can present a little bit of some of those findings here today. My goals in being here in front of you today are to tell you that there's a report with a lot of detail in it. It makes good, evening reading if you're trying to fall asleep. But that's where all the detail is, some of which I'll gloss over today. I wanted to give you a summary of the findings, but also let you know what I thought this body could do to advance the information security posture of the county. So I'll run through the first three items pretty quickly, and then we'll have a little bit of a Q&A. I know you've been here a while, so I'm going to try and go as quickly as I can. Feel free to jump in at any point if you have any questions. So local government cybersecurity landscape, if you've listened to the news lately, you know that the environment for local governments has changed. You can see it there. Now, instead of it just being a matter of people making mistakes and posting things publicly that shouldn't be, now you're a target for pretty sophisticated attackers. So, in order to deal with that problem, we need to first understand what assets are out there, data and systems. We need to see what controls are in place new controls, and we need to assess regularly. And that's kind of an ongoing process, both internally and externally. So for the assessment that Purdue provided, we start with the NIST Special Pub 800-30, which is cybersecurity, which is risk assessment. IT security, like most everything else you do, is a risk management business, right? HR, all of that kind of stuff. It's similar in that way. We looked at physical, administrative, and technical controls, and on top of our risk assessment guide, we used the frameworks you see there as they applied here to the county and its operations. Again, it's mostly a risk management proposition. So here's some of our findings. You can see these are technical in nature. You can see some of the issues that are ongoing, but being worked on. The comment I wanted to make about your technical controls is that generally they're quite strong. I'm sure you're all aware that several counties, several municipalities in this state have been hit by cybersecurity attacks of various sorts, and you have not yet been victim. That is to see, yeah, absolutely. But it speaks to the strength of your technical controls. If you asked me if it was an accident, if you were somehow excluded from the target list, that's highly unlikely. From what I've seen, you just managed to prevent those attacks from reaching inside your network. And so the recommendations we have as they relate to technical controls are really two primarily. The first one is that everything that touches the network internally be encrypted. That is to say, if you have a laptop or a workstation, that the hard disk and its whatever storage you use is encrypted. We can do that now more easily than we used to be able to do it. And then in conjunction with that, we'll talk a little bit more about authentication processes. Those two things work really well together, not only to provide great, strong security, but also in some regulatory environments as a safe harbor. So if you had a laptop and it had these things on it, it was encrypted, and you had good authentication on it, and you lost it and it had sensitive information on it, you wouldn't necessarily have to report it as a breach of security. So as far as physical controls go, my favorite security control physically is armed sheriff deputies, which I encountered in my assessment. That's pretty good security. In general, the departments and the offices here in the county, and I traveled to several, and there were several in this building, of course, the security posture generally fit the services that they were providing. Where sensitive information was stored, there was more security. Where there was less potential vulnerability to attack, there was less security, and that seemed fitting. We'd like to see each department, each office come up with at least an understanding, a documented plan of how they might handle likely or highly impactful threats. We're in an age of active shooters, things like that. Not only to have that understanding, but to document it and to train on it, much like your E911 manual. As we talk about administrative controls, we'll talk more about that, but that's really a key piece to information security that we tend not to focus on. And as far as those facility security plans go, I think Lance from EMA is probably a good reference there. They do, disaster planning is kind of his business, right? So we would recommend that as well. So you can see the recommendations for physical controls up there. Locked doors and sheriff's deputies, both good things. Logging of visitors where appropriate, whether or not they're customers or vendors, so to speak. In case problems arise later, you have a tracking mechanism. So finally, administrative controls. Again, this is where I think that this body can do the most as far as improving the posture of information security of the county. There are very few county-wide information security policies, really, if any. And so we have worked with Don. We've looked at some of the things that he's written. We have, much like E911 again, there aren't a whole lot out there that are county-specific, county-wide, right, or departmental. So we're working on that. There are some that we've already recommended be made into county-wide policy, and there will be more of them. But again, we can produce all of the technical controls in the world, and at Purdue we tend to do that all day long, and we're pretty darn good at it. But it doesn't matter how good we are at that. If somebody who has the authority to remove a control or ignore one does so, then the game is up. Whatever we've put in place technically is not functioning. So, again, I can't stress the importance of administrative controls, policies, procedures, things like that, and that's where I think most impact can be made here. So you can see those on this slide. again, it's not only countywide, but also individual departments as well. And that is as quickly as I can do it, I think. Do you have any questions? I mean, this is kind of one of those issues that you hear in the news and you think, well, that's kind of scary, I'm not sure what to do with it. If there's anything I can ever answer for you, either now, through Don, or at any other point, please let me know. We're happy to provide any information we can.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions from the board?
No, I mean, it's just, I like your recommendation that each office develop a security plan, and then a primary county-wide plan needs to be put in place. And from what I'm reading in the news, because I'm kind of a geek, I kind of follow this stuff a little bit. I mean, this is a big problem and a growing problem.
Yeah, well, and it's especially, for me, it's especially concerning at this level of government because you do so many things, and in general, you're not as well funded as state government. You're not as well funded as federal government, who I've actually lost 2 sets of information from being a part of. So the challenges are not dissimilar from those other levels of government, but the solutions will have to be greater and more creative, because this is where government lives, right here in the counties, right here in the municipalities.
But our loss is just as great if something were to happen here as it would in the state.
Yes.
But I think one of the main problems we have too here as county government is I think a lot of the ordinances and the legislature that we have, it's not really a real clear defined direction on how we handle this. And I think that we're sort of stymied down here on the lower levels, and we need to have sort of a policy from the legislature, the state body, to maybe help us corral all this and have more of a purposeful system. I don't know if you guys would agree with that or not, but
they're working on it. Their focus has tended to be we're the state, and these are state agencies, and we're going to work that direction. But to your point, the reality of it is that this is a situation in which we're all going to have to work together to some extent.
No doubt.
And to get things done. So.
Yeah.
Well, I'd be curious, Don, moving forward, is because sir, you touched on that we're doing a lot of things right, and maybe that's why we have not been hit yet. But moving forward, what we can do to even strengthen our position, and what maybe that investment, kind of investment that might be.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're basically working on that now to come up with the ideas, but we've got a few things in the works. I've got 20 new security policies that I'll probably be back in the next meeting to get your approval on, and that's the first step we want to do. There's another thing that I need to talk to the attorney about to make sure that what I'm going to do is a good thing. Then once I get his approval, we have something else we're going to put into place. But we have some things in the works.
Well, good.
And it's not been too many years that I think the council and commissioners have really bought in and understood how important IT is. I mean, you're just starting to get the funding you need.
Yeah, the last 3 or 4 years, the funding has really helped.
Well, I think early in this presentation, the key point that you made was we went from a paradigm that basically was, let's not lose information, let's not put information out there that shouldn't maybe be public or things along those. But now the world has changed, and instead of worrying necessarily about us out, it's out coming in, which really is a major difference. Instead of worrying about where we kind of have been, happily, we didn't know it at the time, but happily living in that world compared to now, where we have to concern ourselves with all of the far-reaching departments that we have, all in different locations, all doing fairly radical different tasks at different times and at different levels of security and sensitivity, to somehow have that on a network within county government that has all the safeguards in it to not allow us to be at least to be a ripe target for an individual attack is pretty monumental, and it's a fairly significant change in how to look at IT as a, from a governance standpoint. I mean, it's just, that change in the reality is just incredible, and what some of these counties have either had to live with or pay is pretty significant. So, I mean, I think frankly, the work that started 3 and 4 years ago with the additional funding and the requests and the things that Don's put in place has put us in a pretty good spot. But nevertheless, I mean, without that work having been started then, I'm not exactly sure where we'd be right now. So I think we can continue on through the security policies that I know he's already developed and some of the things that we've been kind of plugging along, and things like taking over the sheriff's department and making sure that, our IT department is running that. I mean, again, basically, any vulnerable location makes the whole place vulnerable.
Well, and one of the things in the report that you'll probably see in front of you at some point that you're going to have to decide on is, when a department spends its money. Pretty much anything you buy anymore has some sort of IT component in it. Well, if you're going to do that, then you need to have some sort of input from IT. Not IT controlling how the money is spent, but, hey, did you realize? We see it all the time where, hey, I got this grant.
Right.
Nobody's against grants. Nobody's against, and we took that money and we bought X, Y, and Z. And then it shows up. And it shows up on the IT doc, and what is this stuff? Well, if you don't have the people, the skills, the support infrastructure, then you have a vulnerability, and a significant one a lot of the time. So getting that procurement process right, like I said, it's kind of like HR, right?
Now, we have started that, because on our contract, on the submissions to be on the commissioner's agenda, the IT-related purchasing is supposed to be going back through Don. We can refresh that and make sure that we're following that on all levels. But we started to do that about a couple of years ago for this exact reason. So we can redouble our efforts on that.
So, but yes, you've been quite well prepared and a little bit lucky, and that always helps. But what you have in front of you, what you have before you, is a lot of really boring and tedious, administrative type of, because that's the thing that, everybody likes to deal with, the technical piece, people who are technical, because you can do cool things and,
We'd rather do policy.
Yeah, well, yeah, right. This is not the audience for that. But, this is the piece, when you look at information security, that is often neglected. The documentation, the policies, the procedures, we see it all the time. This is the piece that is every bit as important as the technical piece, if not more.
Well, thank you for assisting us and helping our department, and I know this report, we have a lot to digest and get with Don on, but we're going to keep moving in a good trajectory here and keep trying to keep all of our information safe and moving forward. So thank you for coming up.
Thank you for the time, and have a great day. And
yep.
Thank you. If you need me, you know where to find me.
Yeah, we do, or Don does,
Yeah.
because I can find him. Thank you. So we are now at the end of our meeting. Anybody wishing to address this board? And if not, this board stands in recess.